Good morning, masterminds. Welcome to another day in the life of a driving instructor. Another work vlog. Cold maple syrup. Wow. Can you tell I work too much? I have a lot of notable experiences to share with you. A lot. I already shared the major one in the last vlog. More detail on that later. Look at my oatmeal. Oat cereal. Cereal meal. Forgot to buy peanut butter. I need to try whipped peanut butter. That sounds delicious. Henry! My new car may be delivered next month to the dealership. I'm hoping it does get delivered because it's gonna be summer. There's already a heat wave here. Yeah, Henry has no air conditioning. Well, he does. He blows hot air, but not cold air. Okay, I'm running a little late, so I'll share my notable experiences when I have a break. Probably the one after my second student.
Later.
Today's been one of those days where I'm a little late to my lessons because I have to drive far to each student. It's just annoying when I get those days. Haley's slating. Luckily, my last student is close by, so I have a little bit of time to share some notable experiences. But I need a snack. I am dehydrated because it's hot and I keep on talking. Come on, stop slipping. Put yourself somewhere safer. Hold on. Pretzels filled with peanut butter. Okay, I can share a few. So on May 5th, was the first time being in an accident with another car with the student driving. So the student lightly hit a parked car as he parallel parked. He freaked out and tried to drive away, but I had him circle back so that we could check the car. Both vehicles were not damaged, just like a little love tap. Two girls still called the driving school to report us. My boss called me and I clarified the situation. He wasn't mad and he told me to not worry about it. And then later that day, I had my first injury on the job and my worst injury yet. So I destroyed the skin on top of my right index finger. Because I pulled it away from my basket, my cleaning kit basket. And one of the blunt, sharp, well, excuse me, it's either one or the other, right? It was like a jagged edge, and yeah, a rough edge. And it was bleeding a lot. On May 6th, I had a 25-year-old Filipina, super anxious. She'd asked to pull over to collect herself and ask questions. We only went over residential driving. She told me she was traumatized years ago by driving her dad's car up a curb from a parked position and almost hitting a tree in the process. And then my last student that day, I think he's related to Norman Waimanetta. I didn't ask to check, but he is Japanese and has Norman Mineta in his name. On May 7th, when I arrived to the driving school, my boss told me I earned a $3 raise to my hourly rate. So, my appointment hourly rate is $22 an hour now. And he said directly to me, "You're killing it here." And then I had my most confident skilled student ever on the third lesson, and she passed every practice test with 0 errors. And then, let's see, I almost got into a serious car crash with my last student. We were on a very blind exit to her apartment complex's parking lot. So like, it's like a curving road, and we were exiting this way. So it was very blind for us. We almost got into a head-on collision with a car coming from our left. But I slammed my brake in time, and that driver slammed on his brakes. And we were like inches from being hit. My student wasn't really freaked out. She's Japanese and can handle kamikaze maneuvers and commit to adrenaline-fueled fatality. What did I write here? My writing is funny. Or type writing. Commit to adrenaline-fueled fatality. Damn, I should become a writer, right? On May 13th, I had the same female from May 6th. She understeered a left turn at a stop sign and then accelerated super quickly. So I wasn't able to catch it in time. So we mounted the curb, and she damaged the hubcap of the front right tire. I wasn't that mad, but it's one of our better cars. And then I was mentioned in a new 5-star Yelp review. The person called me a stickler, but stated I'm very helpful for passing the DMV drive test on the first try. That kid was annoying. He just would talk over me when I'm trying to explain things. Like, shut the fuck up. I'm in a bad mood too right now because stupid drivers. But, yeah. Let me keep this in my mouth. May 14th was the first time a competent enough student denied my request to go on the freeway. At the start of the lesson, I mentioned the freeways on the agenda. So, when I told her we're going on, finally, at the end of the lesson, she's all like, I'm scared. So she took time away from my lunch break. Honestly, she's an uptight buffoon. Love my writing. It's good. Salty. Nutty. Dry. And then on May 21st, I didn't get a gift from my bosses. They just ended up letting me keep the $10 tip. Well, the student overpaid $10, and I asked if I could keep it on one of my time cards. So they let me keep the $10. That was on May 18th when that kid overpaid. And then I had a kid from a private all-boys Catholic school in his first lesson. He wouldn't follow my directions well or take his time. He even put the car in park while it was still moving at like 3 miles per hour. So the car was like, and like bad noises. He really pissed me off, so I aggressively communicated to him that he needs to listen to me or I'm gonna take him home. He fixed his act after that. On May 22nd, a parent gifted me 1 container of disinfectant wipes. And then on May 25th was the second time a student didn't pay an exact change, so I asked my bosses if I could keep the $10 overpaid. They haven't gotten back to me about that. No! On May 27th, a wasp invaded my assigned car. When I prepared it at the start of my day, I was about to sit down when it flew in and sat on the door frame. I flicked it out with my clipboard, got inside and shut the door. Fucking bugs, always interrupting my day, my duties. And then on May 28th, the first lesson, as I'm teaching the guy how to back up along a curb, a guy pulls over behind us and he slams into the curb. So we were laughing at that. And then the second weird incident that day, we saw a guy in a motorized wheelchair driving on the street. So we just cracked up. And then we saw dumb drivers as well, so interesting lesson. After I finished my last lesson that day, a lady approached me to inquire about the driving school services. That has happened quite a few times already, but I just never mentioned it before. And actually today, the parents of my first student, they told me they requested the lesson with me because of the Yelp reviews they read. So they're working. On May 29th, the parent of my first student, a very kind Filipina, really needed someone to take her daughter to her DMV test on June 8th. She really wanted me to be the one to do so. So I accommodated their request. I mentioned it to my boss, and yeah, he worked out the reschedules. So I did take her to her test. I'll mention that later, of how it went. I offered to work on June 6th, a day off, just to accommodate that reschedule. On May 30th, a bee almost interrupted my lesson. I closed the window as I was reviewing with my first student how to back up along a curb, and it was just trying to come inside. It was adamant about getting in. Maybe they're attracted to me. Bugs. That first student then mentioned she has recommended me to her friend group. One of her friends is the guy I saw that wheelchair guy driving in the middle of the street with. Yeah, they all like me. I've already given 2 lessons to one of her friends, that same guy. And then during my break after my second student, I discovered a dead bee in the car against the back windshield. Then my last lesson that day was the 4th lesson with that student that barely talks. I'm proud of him for making so much progress. He passed one of my 2 practice tests, but he made very few point loss mistakes for both. Nowadays, when I do the 3rd lesson or whenever we're practicing for the test, I do 2 practice tests and I take my time by going through the same route after they pass or fail to go over their mistakes so they can practice and see what they did wrong, fix it. Alright, I gotta get going. I'll see you after my work shift to finish sharing those notable experiences. Okay, it's time to cut my helmet hair so I can not feel so hot. Right, Mia? This is like maybe 5.5, 6 weeks since my last haircut. Just a little longer than usual. Yeah. Isn't it? Wasn't it like
3 weeks?
No. We did it like May. Wasn't it before your birthday? It's like 5 weeks. Not complaining. My hair grows fine. Instant relief. When should I go bald?
Today.
Oh my gosh. When I'm 74. Yay!
1 hour later.
Look at what I'm paying Mia with. 3 bags.
Oh, that's 3. That's 2. Oh my gosh.
Okay, open some. Find out what's inside that.
Okay.
So we got 40 McNuggets, 2 large fries, 1 large strawberry banana smoothie,
What the heck? What is
1
this guy?
medium mango pineapple smoothie.
No, look what's in
guava.
this one bag. Just 1 apple pie. Or what is
Should it
this?
be guava pie?
Guava pie. Something. It just says pie.
It should be a guava pie.
But they only put in 1 bag. This is 2 bag.
Well, I guess that's your souvenir. So it looks like we got extra pies.
Seriously?
4 extra, I'm guessing apple pies. So these brown ones are the, have to be the
Guava.
guava ones. So. Yay, breakfast with my cookies and cream ice cream. Sorry, that's just dessert, right? This meal is to also celebrate your finishing 7th grade. Congratulations.
Yeah, I guess so. Thanks. Nothing special though. It's not like it's my 8th grade.
I think that's like guava pie. I like it. Hot and warm. It's okay. You know, you can like something that's like a 6. Fat ass. Mukbang. Why does the Cajun sauce look like American cheese melted?
I don't know.
Like, looks... Okay, the chicken nuggets have gotten a little soggy. Does it take too long? It's a cheat day. I had a stressful day too. Too hot. Too many bad drivers. You like this feeling, Mia, of
No.
eating
No.
subpar
No.
junk food?
No.
It's not even good junk food. What's good junk food? Fucking In-N-Out.
Yeah.
first job?
No.
You should. So you get 4x4s every day.
No.
You can have like a 8x8.
Multiply it? No! No! No!
Mia, I want to capture what's happening to you. Because we're really weird after McDonald's.
I don't look good right now. Why are you recording me? Record another time. Record when we're watching.
Oh. When you're watching what?
Anime. Attack on Titan.
Because you're so passionate about anime. You're just gonna become an anime artist? An animator? Okie dokie. Excuse me. On June 1st, my first student broke down in tears, like majorly crying, after she failed the first practice test. She made more mistakes on the way back to our start point. So she asked to exit the car after we pulled over. And then, yeah, she was sobbing. After I dropped off my second student, I encountered a doe and her two fawn. They were like 15 feet from me. I was cleaning the front passenger seat. I closed the door and I turned around and they're just on the driveway. I locked eyes with the mother and then they just went on their way. And I went on my way. On June 2nd, as I exited my house and approached Henry, a huge flying insect and I crashed into each other. I went back inside because I was scared. My second and last student told me I'm a very good teacher and that I give off history or science teacher vibes. During our lesson together, I honked the horn at a lady who braked suddenly and turned into a parking lot. I laughed when she yelled, "Fuck you," out of her window. On June 3rd, I took a guy to his DMV drive test at what I think is the hardest DMV in Silicon Valley. He passed with 9 errors. And then, June 4th, the incident in the last work vlog. So I have my worst student yet, a 200-pound, 6-foot-tall scumbag. He was off from the start. I texted him asking him if he'd like to start earlier than 3:30 p.m. He replies, "No, 3:30 is fine." When I meet him, he's in a shitty mood and seemingly under the influence due to slurred speech and lethargic movements. He took the mask his mom was wearing when I offered one to him. As we exited his mobile home park, he accelerated up to 52 miles per hour in a 40 mile per hour zone. I sternly told him to respect the rules of the road. And he didn't like my attitude. He got pissed off. He threatened to speed some more. He made it clear he would drive how he wants to drive. One hand on the wheel, like at 5 o'clock, maybe like a few fingers on it. Minimum. One hand maximum. At his request, we made our way to the driving school parking lot to practice parking. After his crappy parking, I told him he should just reschedule the lesson, especially since he's not all there and he needs rest. He told me he just finished an English final and is super tired, hence his bad mood. He agreed to head home. On the way back, he got increasingly angry with me, giving him directions and ways to improve his driving. I texted my female boss that he's making me uncomfortable and I'm unsure of how to approach taking him home. He wouldn't listen to me at all, and he'd position himself on the road where it's impossible to get him to pull over. Or at least, for me to pull him over. Because I felt endangered, I told my boss that I'm being threatened by his recklessness. Remember, in the video, he threatened to speed at 70. Wanted me to shut up. Wouldn't listen. Once we were near his mobile home park, he didn't lane change into the left lane to get into the turn lane to enter the mobile home park. Because I did not see traffic behind us in the left lane, I used my brake and turned the wheel. As a driving instructor, I have the authority to do that. He threatened to slap me, which is assault, and then yelled vulgarities at me. He started to U-turn when the light turned green. I grabbed the wheel to force it into the mobile home park, but he shoved my left arm away, which is battery. It's physical contact, unwanted. And violent in nature. Because he U-turned into the rightmost lane, I used my brake to stop the car, because I'm pretty close where I could boot him out onto the, safely onto the road. So I did that. I returned to the driving school. I was really stressed, so when my bosses asked me what happened, I started to cry. It was just stressful. I've never experienced that kind of conflict in a professional setting. Something that blatantly obscene. Yeah. I then collected myself, told them what happened, and showed them the last of 4 videos I took. So in that last work vlog, those were all the clips I recorded. My female boss told me they've never had this type of incident in 26 years of operating the driving school, as well as somebody, my run-on sentences, ideas. So she also told me that somebody called the office about a person exiting one of our vehicles that was stopped on the road and blocking traffic. My male boss asked if I issued the certificate of completion of behind-the-wheel training. I answered no. I told him I collected the check from the mother before the lesson started, so he immediately asked for it so he could deposit it. He called and spoke with the mother, telling her they will have to go to another school. And then my male boss told me I should have had a bat to break the bones in his forearm. That thug's forearm. He called him a thug. Then he told me it's within my right to file a police report, but he suggested it would be easier for me to just let it go. So I didn't know how to react. I just went home, went on with my life. We kept the scumbag's instruction permit and the driving school certificate meant for him at the office. On June 6th, my day off, originally, because my boss waited until the last moment that day to tell me, I'll be working that day to account for that reschedule. To take that girl to her drive test on the 8th. So he only had to reschedule in person from June 8th to that day. So I worked 12 to 2. When he told me, because we were texting that morning, I mentioned to him that I'll be filing a police report. He supported my decision. Called that guy a thug again. And then on the 7th, June 7th, when I arrived at the office, my female boss mentioned that I should file a police report. During my break, I called SJPD to file a report, but I was told that I should have called 911 during the disturbance to get something done. So they basically told me I'll have to let it go. I spoke with my female boss shortly after that. She mentioned that the police didn't even do anything about the perpetrators who vandalized one of the driving school cars. I mentioned this in a previous work vlog. Because in the same parking lot there was like this broken down car with these sketchy people working on it over the weekend, or quite a few days actually. Yeah, they broke into one of our cars, opened the hood to steal a battery for that car they're fixing up. The police didn't do anything about it. She also told me the mother called, the mother of that thug, and requested a refund. She was denied. And then when I arrived to the house of my last student, I saw a huge pickup truck, 2 American flags, one of them with 1776 and We the People, and 1 flag with a fiery engine. The people that live there are not the whitest white people. Excuse me. June 8th, I took that Filipina to her DMV drive test. She passed with 8 errors. While she was testing, I saw a student I had on June 5th. He drove a stick shift Subaru for the test, and he passed, so I was impressed. And then on June 9th, I met a Japanese student that's learning to drive stick. He picked my brain and told me he feels super comfortable driving with me. I have him again tomorrow, 10 a.m. June 10th, I received a 5-star Yelp review with nice comments from the mother of the girl I took to the DMV on June 8th. And then on June 11th, I had a cancellation, so I thought I'd be starting at 12:30 p.m. But I was notified that my 10 a.m. slot was refilled. I got out of bed at 9 a.m. and arrived at the driving school at 9:36 a.m. It was stressful. Because normally, I get asked if I, want it filled. So yeah, they just filled it. And then when I was on my way to that first student, my assigned car broke down on me. So that was the first time that happened where I was stranded on the side of the road. Luckily it was close by to the driving school. So I called my boss and she drove a vehicle to me. And then she dealt with the broken vehicle. So when I was accelerating the car, it wouldn't pick up speed. So that must be like a air intake filter problem or transmission problem, drivetrain problem. Not a mechanic. Then later that day I checked Yelp and someone left a bad review about that car being dangerously driven back to the office. I just felt bad for my boss because the review mentioned he saw her go from the leftmost turn lane, the first turn lane, swinging to the rightmost lane after the turn, and mentioned that she was just rubbing her nose. So sad. And then on June 12th, my first student complimented me for my handwriting. And then on June 15th, I was not surprised my first student failed all the practice tests because she's a BMW driver. She's a speeder, doesn't really traffic check or signal. That's it. So, the vlog will end here, Masterminds, because I'm tired. Working 6 days a week. My goodness. It's exhausting. I'll likely see you on July 4th. I might see you on Father's Day, but just I need time to recover. I'm just so overworked. But I need the money. Too many bills. More responsibilities. It's like work-life imbalance. So, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you by, or expect me by July 4th. Remember, be smart, be your heart. Good night.